Bismillahi walhamdulillahi assalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers. Today, inshallah, we will continue our study of Surah Maryam and we will try our best to cover from ayah number 41 until 70. So let's start. Just like every lesson, we will go through actions from previous class. In the previous class, we covered from ayah number 1 until 40 of Surah Maryam. The two actions that we took for ourselves was pray tahajjud and reclaim part of the night to establish your love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a very special time. It's a very special prayer. And this can be our source of establishing that relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and show our love. Because the night time, wherever a person spends, is actually the time that shows that you're sacrificing something. So whenever people are working late, or whenever you have exams and you're studying late, that shows it is important for you. So similarly, the connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should also be important for us, and we should try to reclaim part of the night that is so precious for us. Sleep is so precious for us, and we should reclaim part of the night to establish our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the second action was always be dutiful and respectful towards your parents. And your parents are the only ones who love you unconditionally. Of all the people that you will ever get to know, a lot of people have intentions. However, your parents are those relatives who love you unconditionally, and this is something that you guys will inshallah learn when you'll have your own kids, or if you already have your own kids, then you will also realize the same thing. This topic of parents will continue when we go through inshallah today the story of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. So let's start today's lesson. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واذكر في الكتاب إبراهيم, and mention in the book Ibrahim alayhi salam and the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam and his father. إنه كان صديقا نبيا, indeed he was a man who was truthful and who was on the side of the truth. And he was a man of truth and a prophet from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning that he had to spread the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now we'll go through the conversation that Ibrahim alayhi salam had with his father. إِذْ قَالَ لِأَبِيهِ يَا أَبَتِي لِمَا تَعْبُدُ مَا لَا يَسْمَعُ وَلَا يُبْصِرُ وَلَا يُغْنِي عَنْكَ شَيْئًا. When he said to his father, "O my father, why do you worship that which does not hear, which cannot hear and cannot see, and that does not benefit you in anything?" So this also tells us that his father was worshipping the idols and the gods who were made of stone, and he was not worshipping one Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he was amongst those who was idol worshipper. But the fact that we have, and the point that we have to notice, is the way of respect that Ibrahim alayhi salam is still showing his father. And he says, "Oh my father, why do you worship that which does not hear and does not see?" The other important thing to notice here is as well, he's trying to give logic, and he's using logic and wisdom. So this is a point to note and action for us as well when we are talking to our parents. So he's trying to convince his father. By the way, it's not a small thing. It's a matter of religion. It's like he himself is the prophet, and he's trying to convince his father, and he knows there can be severe punishment towards his father from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a very important topic. It's not like but he doesn't get aggressive. He doesn't get angry. He's still staying humble and respectful. And you will see how the entire conversation will flow, how the same respect will continue from Ibrahim alayhi salam towards his father. And he's trying to convince him with logic and wisdom. So this is one of the actions for us actually. Always treat your parents with respect and use logic and wisdom to convince them. Just I wanted to mention one thing, that if you guys have any question, please unmute yourself and feel free to answer. Feel free to ask the question because sometimes I'm not able to follow the chat. Okay, moving forward. I think there is something on the chat. Let me see. Somebody's saying that they cannot see the screen. Do others, do you guys see the screen? Because I know I'm sharing the screen. Anyone can confirm if you guys are seeing the screen? Yes. Okay, so we are getting multiple answers on yes. So one of our brothers, Hasib, please check. Maybe you need to scroll, and maybe you're seeing the participants and you need to look at the screen. Okay, moving forward. So in case if you guys have any question, anything, feel free to pause, stop me and unmute yourself, and feel free to ask anything. Okay, moving forward. Ya abati inni qad ja'ani min al-ilmi ma lam ya'tika fattabi'ni ahdika siratan saviyya. Oh my father, indeed I verily has come to me of the knowledge what came which did not come to you. So follow me and I will guide you to the right path, and I will guide you to even right path. So this is how Ibrahim alayhi salam is conveying the message of oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his father. Ya abati. Again, look at the respect. Oh my father, la ta'budish shaitan. Do not worship the shaitan. Now, people were not directly worshipping the shaitan, but because they were worshipping idols, and it is against the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, when people are worshipping idols, that means they're not following any guidance. And of course, they will be creating laws that please them. Just like the mushriks of Makkah, even they were worshipping idols, and they were trying to create, and they were also very oppressive, and they were cruel towards the other people who were weak in the society. However, this obviously we don't know about his father. All we know is that he was worshipping idols, and Ibrahim alayhi salam is trying to convey the message, oh my father, do not worship the shaitan. Inna shaitana kana lirrahmani asiya. Indeed, the shaitan is to the most gracious disobedient. So shaitan definitely is disobedient. He was asked to prostrate in front of Adam alayhi salam, but he refused. And since then, he is trying to make other people disobedient and follow the path that is wrong. So now he's trying to warn his father in a very respectful way. Ya abati, inni akhafu an yamassaka azabum min ar-rahmani fatakuna lish-shaytani waliya. Oh my father, I indeed fear that the punishment from the most gracious Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will touch you. So you would be a friend to the shaitan. So on the day of judgment, or after you die, there may be punishment that can come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and because you are a friend of shaitan, you're following his way and you're being disobedient, you're not following the guidance sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And now he himself is the prophet and he is passing on the message. Qala araghibun anta an alihati ya Ibrahim. He said, do you hate from my gods, O Ibrahim? Do you hate my way? Do you hate all the gods that are here that we are worshipping and me and my people are worshipping? La illam tantahi la arjumannaka wahjurni maliya. Surely, if you do not stop, if you do not desist, then I will surely stone you. So leave me for a long time. Now his father asked him to leave the home and walk away. And you can imagine the conversation that would have happened, because this is again an extreme action that he took against Ibrahim alayhi salam, and he asked him to leave his house and go away. Otherwise, he said that I will stone you or I will kill you, right? So it's a very tough conversation that would have happened between the father and the son, which is Ibrahim alayhi salam and his father. Look at the response of Ibrahim alayhi salam. He did not say he did not become aggressive. He did not become angry. What did he say? Qala salamun alayk. He said, peace be on you. Sa'astaghfiru laka rabbi. I will ask forgiveness for you from my Lord. Innahu kana bi hafiyya. Indeed, he is to me very gracious. So he did not retaliate in a way, how can you do that? And I'm your son, and how can you turn me out of the house? And he was not like that, because he was not saying, I'm speaking the truth, yet you're not believing me, and how come? And it wasn't anything like that. He said, peace be upon you, and I will ask for forgiveness, and I'll continue praying for you, O my father, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَأَعْتَزِلُكُمْ وَمَا تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ وَأَدْعُو رَبِّي. And I will leave you on what you invoke besides Allah, and I will only invoke my Lord. So he said, you can continue to worship your gods. However, I will only worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I will not leave the guidance and the message that has been to me, and I will focus on that. Asa Allah akuna bidu'a'i rabbi shaqiyya. Maybe that I will not be in invocation to my Lord unblessed. So because he's saying that, I will continue to follow I will continue to follow the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because if he leaves, then he will be he knows the punishment that is there of not following the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So which is why he continues the respect, and he says that fine, the last argument, the final argument was, you can continue on your way, and I will invoke my Lord. And then he said, and he showed hope, and he said that maybe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also listen to my prayer, that I will continue to pray. So the point to note and action for us is, which I also mentioned in the previous slides, was Ibrahim alayhi salam continued to respect and pray for his father even after he gave him a very harsh response. Imagine listening to from your father that he said that I will kill you, or I will stone you, or something very harsh, or just go away and get out from the house, and just stay away from me. However, while it was a tough situation for him, still he did not compromise on the right way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is an action for us, a very important action for us. And we discussed it partially in the previous class as well. That is, we have to be always respectful to our parents and continue to pray for them. However, in terms of being obedient, when do you have to listen to them and when you don't have to listen to them? So you have to be obedient to them all the time, meaning you have to listen to what they ask you to do all the time, except if they ask you to go against the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't have to do it, but still you have to stay respectful. You cannot say, because my father is now asking me to do something. This is an extreme situation, by the way. In normal situations, when they are asking you to do something that is not going against the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning the Holy Quran or the Hadith or Sunnah of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then you have to follow everything that they say, as long as it is not going against the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if it goes against the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have to be respectful. You don't have to be obedient in that case, but you have to be respectful all the time. So I hope this point is clear, because it is very, very important. Sometimes because we are young and we have this rush of blood, how come my father or my mother or how come they are not understanding what I'm saying? And sometimes, we have such arguments and all of this, which is not allowed. It is not the way of Islam. There is no way that you can be disrespectful towards your parents. So I hope this point is clear. فَلَمَّا تَزَلَهُمْ وَمَا يَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. So when he left him and what they worshipped besides Allah, so you see, it was a tough situation. It was a test for Ibrahim alayhi salam to go against his father and his people, but he did not leave the way. So once he did that, and once he overcame that test, what happened? وَهَبْنَا لَهُ إِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ. We bestowed to him Ishaq and Yaqub. He got children who were what? وَكُلًّا جَعَلْنَا نَبِيًّا. And each of them we made a prophet. So this came as a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala towards Ibrahim alayhi salam, that his sons and their generation, a lot of prophets were sent. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions Ishaq and Yaqub alayhi salam. وَوَهَبْنَا لَهُمْ مِنْ رَحْمَتِنَا وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُمْ لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ عَلِيًّا. And we bestowed to them of our mercy, and we made for them a truthful mention that is high, and they always used to speak the right thing. All of the prophets, we have discussed this, all of the prophets and messengers from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought in the same message of Islam, which was about the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is the last prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala completed the guidance on him in the shape of Quran, as well as he explained it to us in the form of Hadith and his own examples, which is Sunnah. So the Sharia law has been completed with the descent of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was the last prophet. However, before him, all of the prophets who came and all of the books that were given, the Torah, the Injil, Zabur, and now the Holy Quran to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all of them brought the same message of oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the same guidance. And then, of course, now it has been perfected with the Holy Quran, and now we know how to practice even the religion, and our religion is now complete even if you look at it, how we should live our lives from an individual standpoint or from a collective standpoint, from a society standpoint, financials, justice system, social, everything has been now explained to us on how we should be properly like a true practicing Muslims. So the point to note again in action, again, this story is amazing in terms of learning from Ibrahim alayhi salam and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested and how he overcame them. It must have been an extremely tough time for Ibrahim alayhi salam to go against his father, but he chose the right way. So Ibrahim alayhi salam passed the test and he was bestowed with mercy and blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the form of children who carried on to his message, and they were also prophets. This is the true blessing for Ibrahim alayhi salam. Now, the action for us is that we will also get tough situations from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that can be a test, right? Especially those that are related to following the guidance or not. So if something comes in front of us, a situation comes in front of us, will we follow the guidance or not follow the guidance? This is a test for us. And after those tough situations, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also make it easy for us. So we have to keep praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us steadfast, meaning we make us stay on the right guidance, and we continue to try our best to be on the guidance as well. However, guidance comes from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I hope this action is clear. Whenever you're faced with a tough situation where you know that you may deviate from the guidance, somebody is asking you, something is appearing really attractive to you, and you're about to go there, you have to stop yourself and you have to make sure that you follow the guidance regardless of how tough that situation is. Once you overcome that test, inshallah, the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come to you and things will be made easy. Waskur fil kitabi Musa, and mention in the book Musa, the story of Musa alayhi salam. Innahu kana mukhlasan wa kana rasulan nabiyya. Indeed, he was the chosen one and he was a prophet and messenger from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa nadaynahu min janibit turil aymani wa qarrabnahu najiyya. And we called him from the side of the mount the right and brought him near for a conversation. We went through the story of Musa alayhi salam, how he used to have a conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa bahabna lahu min rahmatina akhahu Haruna nabiyya, and we bestowed to him from our mercy his brother Harun, who was also a prophet. Waskur fil kitabi Ismail, and mention in the book Ismail, the mention of Ismail alayhi salam, who was the son of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Innahu kana sadiqal wa'di wa kana rasulan nabiyya. Indeed, he was true to his promise and he was a messenger and a prophet. I hope you guys can create a connection that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making across all the prophet and messengers that he sent. They were all again sharing the same message about the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa kana ya'muru ahlahu bis salati waz zakat, and he used to enjoin on his people the prayer and the zakah, the same instructions that were also given to the holy prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wa kana inda rabbihi marziyya, and he was near his Lord and he was pleasing and near, close to it. It was a very good relationship. He had a great relationship with his Lord. Waskur fil kitabi Idris, and mention in the book Idris. So Idris alayhi salam is thought to be, I was looking at some of the explanations from some of the scholars. They said that he was in between Adam alayhi salam and Nuh alayhi salam. He was one of the earliest prophets who came to people, and he was very kind-hearted, and he used to teach people the right things and of course the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Innahu kana siddiqan nabiyya. Indeed, he was a truthful prophet. Warafa'nahu makanan alayya, and we raised him to a high position, and he was very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This could also mean that he was raised in a high position within this world. However, it also means that he was raised in a high position. He will be raised in a high position in the afterlife because of how pious and kind-hearted he was and how close he was to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ulaika allazina an'ama Allah. Those were the ones whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed his favor upon. So they are the prophets and the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed his favor. alayhim minan nabiyyina min zurriyyati Adam, and from among them, upon them, the prophets of the offspring of Adam alayhi salam. So these are the people who are bestowed favors, and they were the prophets who were coming from the as children of Adam alayhi salam. وَمِمَّنْ حَمَلْنَا مَعَ نُوحٍ وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّةِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْرَائِيلَ, and of those we carried with Nuh, and of the offsprings of Ibrahim and Israel. وَمِمَّنْ هَدَيْنَا وَاجْتَبَيْنَا, and of those whom we guided and we chose. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is collecting all the people after Adam alayhi salam, who were the prophets, and those prophets who came after Nuh alayhi salam, and amongst the children of Ibrahim and Israel, Israel alayhi salam, and of those whom we guided and we chose, and other people who are also, guided and chosen from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Iza tutla alayhim ayatul rahmani kharru sujjadan wa bukiyya. When were recited to them the verses of the most gracious Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they fell prostrating and weeping. So this is the common way of the guided people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. Here, this is Ayatul Sajda. So after the class, we need to make sajda. Inshallah, I will try my best to also remind you guys. So on such ayahs, we have to prostrate and make sajda. So these are the people who were guided and they were chosen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, when the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ayahs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala were recited to them, they fell prostrating and weeping. So here I wanted to ask a question to you guys. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying these guided people. However, generally people say in our society that men should not cry. It's a sign of toughness. You're a tough man, especially for boys when they're being raised, they're being told, even if they fell and he's crying, he's saying, no, don't cry. You're tough, and men don't cry and boys don't cry. What do you guys think about this statement? Do you agree, disagree? Strong men don't cry. Anyone? Any thoughts? You can unmute yourself and answer. Muhammad Aftab is saying he doesn't agree in the chat. Okay, why don't you agree? If you're tough, then you should hold back your tears. You shouldn't cry. Aziz, raise hand. Aziz, go ahead.
I think it's subjective to the situation. Like if you start crying because you hit yourself, like you grazed yourself on the pavement, and that's kind of like, I don't think you should cry on that. Or like if something bad happens to you, like you lose a family member or someone, or you're in a really bad situation and a lot of bad things are happening to you and you cry, then like I think that's just, you've been just overwhelmed with what's happening to you, and yeah, I think it's fine to cry then. And let's say with the ayat of Allah, and you get scared of the day of judgment, or you get scared of Allah's punishment, then that's also fine to cry about.
Jazakallah khairan, Aziz. So what you're saying is it depends on the situation. So in situations where you have to stay strong, maybe you fell, then you have to hold yourself and show your strength, and maybe you shouldn't cry. But from on other occasions and other let's say, there can be situations where you get overwhelmed with feelings and then you can cry. Okay, Muhammad Aftab, you had your hand raised. Go ahead.
Sir, आवाज सही आ रही है?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Sir, like दुनिया के सामने नहीं, like सजदों में जब दुआ करते हैं उस टाइम करना चाहिए, उस टाइम बिल्कुल, लेकिन वो दुनिया के सामने नहीं कि ये हो गया, वो हो गया, बर्बाद हो गया.
Excellent answer. Jazakallah khairan, Muhammad Aftab. So just to translate, what he's saying is we shouldn't try to cry in front of people and just as an excuse and saying that I mean this happened, that happened, so and we shouldn't feel weak. However, of course, when we are alone and especially in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we can cry. So men can cry. I think both of you are hitting on the right point. It's just that I want you guys to understand one thing. Crying is an expression, just like laughing, just like other things, being sad, being excited. It's an expression. It's an expression of when you're sad. what I want to leave you with is, it's not something that is bad if you cry. And as you guys said, there can be situations, but just like crying, laughing, and all of these are ways that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us to express ourselves. So if you really feel like crying, don't hold back yourself. And when you become overwhelmed, and in certain situations, definitely it's okay to cry. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying He likes those people who are guided, are the ones who are prostrating and weeping in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala out of fear and everything else. So being strong is a matter of your character. It's how you train yourself. Being strong means, yes, you can laugh, you can be sad, you can be excited, you can have all expressions, and you can cry as well. That is also a sign of strength, that you realize that you are becoming overwhelmed. So you don't have to worry about it. It's just an expression. But yes, generally, you have to be strong. You have to support others. You have roles to play in the society. You can keep that strength. But that doesn't mean that, even when you become overwhelmed, you hold your expression, which is crying. So, and I don't know, I mean, you can check on the internet. You can look at certain studies. They say a lot of these diseases, like that, the diseases that are related to stress, like diabetes and hypertension, happen to males, because they don't tend to express themselves. Or not just males, people who don't express themselves. When you hold back your thought just to stay strong and just do not show and everything else, it can negatively impact you in terms of your health as well. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the truly believing men and those who are guided are the ones who prostrate and weep, then this is the most important thing for us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning specifically prostrating and weeping as a sign of guided people. It doesn't mean that you keep on crying in front of everyone, like Muhammad Aftab just said. So, and even Aziz also mentions, Jazakumullah khairan, guys, for your contributions. So definitely doesn't mean that. However, in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you fear Him as a sign of showing, as a sign of taqwa even inside your heart, it's okay. And it also shows that you care even for other people. And this is just a feeling, as I mentioned, and it's a form of expression like all other forms of expression. So the action for us is that we have to prostrate and cry in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all our worries and prayers that we want for this world and akhirah. So this is something that we should take away from what we are going through. And if you connect it with the previous lesson from the previous class, that was about reclaiming part of the night in tahajjud, and if you combine these two, and you prostrate and you cry in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or for any worry that you have, or even for the fear of afterlife or the fear of death and these things, this is a sign of guided people. Moving forward. فَخَلَفَ مِن بَعْدِهِمْ خَلَفٌ أَضَاعُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَاتَّبَعُوا الشَّهَوَاتِ فَسَوْفَ يَلْقَوْنَ غَيًّا. Then succeed after them successors who neglected the prayer and they followed the lust, so soon they will meet evil, and they will meet a very evil end. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning the people. Earlier on, He mentioned all the prophets and the chain of prophets, the messengers, and those people who followed them, and those who were guided. However, later on, we know that before the time of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what was happening in Arabia, and it is called the Dark Age of Arabia, where people were just following their desires and their lusts and everything. Now, the word here, shahwat, we have discussed this before as well. However, there is a detailed expression on this specific word shahwat as well, which is lust. So all the people who succeeded after multiple generations, those who neglected the prayer and those who did not connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they followed their lust, they will soon meet a very evil end, and they will soon get punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if they don't change their ways. So the meaning of lust, and now when I'm describing this explanation of this word, shahwat, which is the meaning of lust, try to reflect back on what is happening in our societies today across the world. Not just the non-Muslim countries, but even in the Muslim countries, whatever is happening. Now, let's go through this explanation of the word shahwat, which is lust. Lust means like drinking alcoholic drinks, giving false witnesses, even giving false witnesses, eating unlawful things, meat of edible animals not slaughtered according to Allah's order. So if you go outside and it is not slaughtered the Islamic way, and you're eating chicken, you're thinking, it's not pork, it's chicken, so I can eat it. No, it has to be proper zabiha. It has to be properly slaughtered with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is also lust. So, having a beef burger in a place in a country where, they are not doing the slaughter the right Muslim way, that is also not allowed. So meat of edible animals not slaughtered according to Allah's order. So forget about the haram animals who have been, mentioned. Taking intoxicants, anything that, gives you that feeling, and those drugs and alcohol. So intoxicants are not just alcohol, but everything that makes you an intoxicating feeling, that numbs your senses. Narcotic drugs like opium, morphine, heroin, cannabis. Committing crimes, evil wicked deeds like illegal sexual acts, committing zina. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a way to fulfill our desires, and that is nikah and getting married. So going against it, illegal sexual acts, murdering, taking others' rights unlawfully. So somebody, taking over property of a brother, eating property of a brother after the father dies, not giving their due shares, not giving due shares to sisters in inheritance. Robbing, stealing, betraying, backbiting, slandering, telling lies. You cannot even lie as a joke. So if you look at the explanation that came in the Tafsir Ahsanul Kalam of this word lusts, which is shahwat, and if we try to reflect this all, and if we look at in the mirror and whatever everything is that is happening across our society, then we will realize where we are standing. And based on this, we discussed earlier, there's a short video, don't go near immorality, shaitan will pull, but you can break free. And we discussed what are immoralities in detail in that video. It's available on Quran4teens and on YouTube and our website. And what are the ways that we can try to protect ourselves, because these immorality is right in front of us. The device that we have in the palm of our hand, the mobile phones, the tablets and the laptops, everything accessible to everyone, regardless of age. You can watch and look at everything. It is very, very important to protect ourselves. And I think this is the biggest challenge that we are facing as an ummah and as Muslims, in order to really protect ourselves from all these immoralities. So feel free to watch the video. It's a longer conversation. I don't want to repeat it again. However, I hope you guys get the point. Moving forward. Illa man taba wa amana wa amila salihan fa ulaika yadkhuluna al-jannata wa la yuzlamuna shay'a. Except one who repented and believed and did good deeds, then those will enter paradise and they will not be wronged in anything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide the right justice. All the people who have done good deeds or all the people who have done evil deeds, they will be compensated the right way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best judge and will provide the absolute justice. Why? Because he has all the information that is needed to make a verdict. Here in this world, when a judge sits, he's dependent on what are the witnesses saying, what are the clues that were given to him, and then he collects all this information and then he makes his judgment. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he knows what is inside the hearts. He knows what are the intentions. So absolute justice will only happen in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This also gives us the belief on the day of judgment, because no judge in this world can do that justice today. So there has to be a day of judgment where all of this will get balanced. All the deeds that happened, if somebody killed 100 people at a time, or if somebody did corruption that impacted thousands and millions of people in a country, then their compensation will only happen in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is what we need to, that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, that no one will be wronged in anything. Everyone will be compensated the right way, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the knowledge of everything. Jannati adni nillati wa'ada ar-rahmanu ibaduhu bil ghaib. Gardens of Eden which are promised by the most gracious to his slaves in the unseen. Innahu kana wa'duhu matiyya. Indeed, it is his promise that will surely come for the people who are believers and who follow the guidance. La yasma'una fiha lagwan illa salama. They will not hear therein but vain talk, peace. So they will not hear anything in the gardens in the heaven. They will only hear salam, which is peace. There will not be any bad talk, not idle talk, no bad biting, no foul language. They will never listen. So once you enter Jannah, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us enter Jannah, Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Once we enter Jannah, then there will be no bad thing. There will be no vain talk, nothing love. Love, the words love means all the discussions that are meaningless that happen. And I'm sure, I mean, it doesn't take us a lot to look around. I mean, there's a lot of discussions and texts and a lot of things that are happening that are really vain and love, right? So it will only be positive. They will only be listening to peaceful things, and there will be positive energy and positive discussion only in Jannah. Walahum rizquhum fiha bukratan wa ashiyya, and for them is the provision therein which will be provided to them in the morning and in the evening. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide the best rizq in Jannah. Wallahu khairur raziqin. He's the best providers of rizq. Tilkal jannatu allati nurithu min ibadina man kana taqiyya. This is the paradise which we give as inheritance to our slaves, those who are righteous, those who follow the right path, those who follow the guidance, those who take the tough decisions to follow the guidance. Those are the people who will be entering into paradise. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us also amongst those people who enter paradise. Wama natanazzalu illa bi amri rabbik. And we don't descend except by the command of your Lord. So now the angels who are bringing the messages to the prophet and messengers, they used to pass on this message to all the prophets and messengers. So this is a thing that is being said by these angels who are messenger, like Jibreel alayhi salam, to the prophet. So, and we don't descend except by the command of your Lord. Lahu ma baina aydina wa ma khalfana wa ma baina dhalik. To him belongs what is before us and what is behind us and what is between that. So everything belongs to him. He has knowledge of everything. We are bringing the message according to what he wants us to pass on. Wama kana rabbuka nasiyya, and your Lord is not forgetful. It's not like he will miss anything. He remembers everything that you do, and everything is being kept into account. Rabbus samawati wal ardi, Lord of the heavens and the earth. Wama bainahuma fa'buduhu wastabir li'ibadati. And whatever is between both of them, so worship him and be constant in his worship. Be consistent in his worship. Don't say that, okay, fine, I'm worshiping and I pray 5 times. However, on the side, I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm following other things as well. No, it cannot be. We have to be constant in his worship. We have to be consistent. Hal ta'lamu lahu samiyya. Do you know for him any similarity? There is no one like him. There is no one like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's the Lord of the heavens and the earth and everything that is encompassing between them as well. وَيَقُولُ الْإِنسَانُ أَإِذَا مَا مِتُّ لَسَوْفَ أُخْرَجُ حَيًّا. And says the man, when the man says, what? When I'm dead, will I surely be brought forth alive again? So once I die and I go into my grave, then on the day of judgment, will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring me back again? How will that happen? I will just turn into dust. I will turn into bones and, everything will dissolve. How can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring me back to life on the day of judgment? What are you talking about? So this was the argument that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also used to hear a lot. So now the answer. أَوَلَا يَذْكُرُ الْإِنسَانُ أَنَّا خَلَقْنَاهُ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَلَمْ يَكُ شَيْئًا. Does not remember the man does not remember that we created before him while he was nothing. He was created from a drop of semen from his father, and that went into his mother, and then he was born from there. So he was nothing and we created him. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can again recreate us as well. If you look at the dead soil, the best example that we discussed multiple times is, if you look at the dead soil and we put a dead seed in it, and then we water on it and we put soil and everything, then what happens? If you look, there are multiple videos available on the internet, how the plant grows out, the seedling, the sapling just grows out from the seed, and then it breaks through the earth, and then it pulls up and it shows life. The plant itself is so alive, and then there are fruits come out, and then those fruits we eat, those vegetation, those vegetables we eat, animals eat. So it's a provider of life as well. So if you just look at this example, how from dead soil Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings up this plant and how it flourishes, and the flowers and the fruits and everything, the vegetation and everything that we consume with it. So it is enabling life as well. Itself, it is alive, it's a living thing. So that in itself can tell us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be able to bring us back from the dead soil, from our graves, and recreate us. It is not at all difficult for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَوَرَبِّكَ لَنَحْشُرَنَّهُمْ وَالشَّيَاطِينَ ثُمَّ لَنُحْزِرَنَّهُمْ حَوْلَ جَهَنَّمَ جِسِيًّا. So by your Lord, we will gather them surely, and the devils, then we will bring them surely around hell, bent on their knees. So those people who were evil, those people who were the friends of shaitan, those people who were devils, all of them will be brought in on their knees in front of, around hellfire, and they will be gathered around hell. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from hellfire. ثُمَّ لَنَنْزِعَنَّ مِنْ كُلِّ شِيعَةٍ أَيُّهُمْ أَشَدُّ عَلَى الرَّحْمَنِ عَتِيًّا. Then we will surely drag from every sect those of them who were worst against the most gracious in rebellion. Across all the times, there are people who are worse amongst the rebellion, despite how many times the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam invited them. And even with the previous prophets, there were a lot of people who went against all the prophets, and they faced the same rejection and the same oppression from them. So the worst of the people who were against, actually they were against the prophets. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying they were against Ar-Rahman. And the word Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using is Ar-Rahman for himself. So, you know, Ar-Rahman who blessed them, look at the irony that they went against him in rebellion. So those are the people who will be dragged and they will be thrown into hellfire. Then what will happen? ثُمَّ لَنَحْنُ أَعْلَمُ بِالَّذِينَ هُمْ أَوْلَى بِهَا صِلِيًّا. Then surely we know best of those who they are the most worthy therein of being burnt into hellfire. They will be actually burnt into hellfire. And we know, and we discussed this previously as well, that those people who will enter into Jannah, they will stay there forever, and those people who will enter the hellfire, they will stay there forever. This is what we learned in the previous lesson as well. So I think the only action that I could take out from these very strong ayahs from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that we should try to learn and pray this dua regularly in morning and in evening, after Fajr prayer and after Maghrib prayer. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there's a hadith from him that if we pray this, we should pray this 7 times, this prayer. So please, and we have discussed this in our previous lessons as well, when the mention of hellfire was there. Please try to learn it. It's very small, only 4 words hardly. Allahumma ajirni minan nar. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, save me, protect me from the fire of hell. It is not something small, it is something serious. And we should start praying this immediately, not from 1 month from now or from tomorrow or from the evening, from the next prayer, Maghrib. We should start to pray this dua, Allahumma ajirni minan nar, because it will be, the situation there will be tough. And we learned it in the previous lesson that a lot of people will be regretting. What will they be regretting? This time. The time right now. The time that we are here together. The time, those of you who will later on watch the video. So this time we will be regretting on the day of judgment, which is right now. We are alive, Alhamdulillah. We can speak, we can read. Allah SWT has given us the energy. We can pray to Him. So please remember and learn this dua. Allahumma ajirni minan nar. If you guys could just unmute yourself and we could recite it at least 3 times together. So I will recite it and then you guys recite behind me. All of you unmute yourself so that at least we pray it together. Please unmute yourself. Yes, I can only see 1, 2, 3. Please unmute yourself. Let's recite this prayer. Allahumma ajirni minan nar.
Allahumma
أجرني من النار
Allahumma ajirni minan nar.
Allahumma
اللهم
ajirni
أجرني
minan
من
nar.
النار
Allahumma ajirni minan nar.
Allahumma
أجرني
ajirni minan nar.
Jazakumullahu khairan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this dua and prayer from all of us. And may He protect us from hellfire, because this is very, very serious and it requires our immediate attention. Of course, very important thing is that we also try ourselves to follow the right guidance and correct our ways. If we are into something, if we are doing something that is not in right, always apply the guidance filter. This is always what we discuss. Guidance filter means whenever you are doing something, whenever you are performing something, is it getting you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or is it moving you away? We get different questions. I get a lot of questions from different students. Do you think music is haram, halal, or should I watch this movie? Or one time I'm watching this movie, it is clean, or I'm playing these different games and all of that. I think you yourself are the best judge. Of course, I mean, I'm not an Islamic scholar or a mufti. I cannot give you answers to those questions. You can easily find them, and you can connect with any Islamic scholar or mufti within the mosque as well, or sheikh who are available, who are the right people to ask the specific questions. However, for us conceptually, we know in our heart what is getting us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what is moving us away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what is bringing the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what is depleting that love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what is making us shameful in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what the things that we do thinking we are alone, nobody's watching, I have my own mobile, I have my own laptop, my parents are there in the other room, they're thinking I'm doing my homework or I'm studying. However, I'm flipping with windows and I'm watching what I'm not supposed to watch, or my friend sent me a dirty joke, I'm forwarding it. Now other people are watching what I forwarded. It was just for fun, I think we have to really realize what we are doing, because the ayahs that we went through today are really tough, really tough. So we need to action, as I said, now. So the time to action is now. And it's not just that, okay, fine, I will just recite this dua morning after Fajr and after Maghrib, and like a robot, I will just say, Allahumma janni minan nar, and then, after that, I'm just keep on doing whatever I was doing. No, we have to correct our actions and then ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then expect and have hope with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He will bless us with Jannah and not with the hellfire. So this is a very, very important action for today that I wanted to emphasize. Alhamdulillah, we're finishing ahead of time. So any questions, any comments before I close today's class? Okay, good. So we will close. We'll just quickly go through the yes, Muhammad Aftab, you have raised your hand. Please go ahead.
सर मेरा सवाल ये था कि लाइक जैसे आपने बोला कि जो जन्नत में जाएंगे वो हमेशा हमेशा के लिए रहेंगे, तो इंशाल्लाह हम सब जाएंगे इंशाल्लाह।
आमीन।
तो जब हम जाएंगे तो क्या मतलब हम उधर जैसे हम दुनिया में अक्सर कुछ करते हैं, बोर हो जाते हैं, तो क्या जन्नत में भी कुछ ऐसा होगा या हम बोर नहीं होंगे, मतलब सारी जिंदगी पूरी?
It's an amazing question. Sorry, please continue. Sorry.
मैं सर ये पूछ रहा था कि दुनिया में हम थोड़ा सा काम करते हैं बोर, तो वो क्या होगा जन्नत में?
It's an amazing question, and there are multiple hadith of the Holy Prophet. I'll just repeat the question. The question is, will we ever get bored in Jannah? So what will happen in Jannah? Because, when we, in this world, when we are doing something, we get bored with things. So how will things evolve? How will things change in Jannah? It's an amazing question, and you can read about it a lot. There are multiple hadith of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The essence of this is, first of all, whatever explanation has been given to us is based on our understanding and whatever we know now. So, the gardens and the rivers flowing and the honey and all of this and the so all of this is based on our current understanding. What will actually happen? How will things taste in Jannah? And all of this we cannot even imagine. what it will be. The experience will be amazing. And the other thing is, this is something that we learned in our previous lessons as well. I don't know if you were there with us, Muhammad, or not during our journey. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says they will not get bored with it. The thing will get continuously increasing. The pleasure will go increasing. The taste will continue to evolve of the fruits and everything that will be given. So which is why this is something that we cannot even imagine. I'll give you an example. Let's say you are living in a certain area of the world, right? Let's say you're enjoying the fruits and you're enjoying some vegetables, whatever is available in that world. Then you move from that city and you move to another city. There you find out, oh my God, there are strawberries and blueberries and all of this. Then you move to another place and you find out, wow, there are mangoes as well. And so if you get this experience in this world and somebody starts to move around the world with different cities and different villages and they continue to explore new things, you will be surprised and you'll be like, wow. I mean, and you will pass on your life. Maybe you will spend 50 years. These blogs, there are people all around. They're traveling in the world, just trying different cuisines, and they're getting wowed with the flavors and everything that happens because they were like, oh my God, I never tasted it. This is so amazing. So the point that I'm trying to make is, it is not difficult for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep elevating the flavors and the excitement and the joy that we will witness in paradise and in heaven, inshallah. Which is why we should pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we should try our best. By the way, this is an amazing topic that normally people generally don't talk about because we are generally we are being told about things that we should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from. Do this, otherwise you'll get this punishment. Do this, otherwise you're going to hell. Do this, otherwise you'll be stoned. Do this, otherwise, So a lot of things. However, if you go through the study of Quran like we have been going, there are lots and lots of things that are that make you hopeful, that make you positive, and that make you, love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for whatever He has in store for you. And you pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And those things also enable you to stop yourself from this world and follow the guidance. Because what you think about is, fine, let me just let go of a few haram things or the haram things which are only few. Let me enjoy the halal things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me and the halal ways that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me. This motivates you. And then you wait for heaven and you wait for what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept in store for us that we cannot even imagine. So from that angle, there are a lot of positive things that you can read on this topic as well. And from the hadith of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam about paradise and heaven and how the believers would be, treated. And here as well. And sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says things that we cannot even imagine. The word risk is something we cannot even imagine because our understanding of risk is whatever we are eating and consuming and doing here today. But the true meaning of risk is whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is providing us here in this world and whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept for the hereafter that we cannot even imagine. So anyways, it's a very exciting topic. Apologies for a long answer for a short question because we still have time in the class. So I just thought that I'll explain it. But I hope that, this creates that desire for all of us and that love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the positive feeling for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be great Muslims, to be very good practicing Muslims, try our best to refrain from all the things that are haram, from everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to ask us to stay away from, and really look forward to the things that are waiting for us in Jannah, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us all with Jannatul Firdaus. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Moving forward to actions from today's class, there were 5 actions that we went through today. Number 1, coming from Ibrahim alayhi salam and his story. He tried to convince his father to follow one Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and leave idol worshipping in the most respectful way. And he tried to explain him via logic and wisdom as well. He told him they cannot listen to you, they cannot do anything, yet you are trying to, you're considering them your God. So the action that we took from there was that always treat your parents with respect, try to use logic and wisdom to convince them whenever you are in a discussion or in your argument, and always stay respectful. Related to the same story, he continued, Ibrahim alayhi salam continued to respect and pray for his father even after he was so harsh for him. His father told him that I will stone you or I will kill you if, just move away and get away from the house and go and take your way. Still, Ibrahim alayhi salam remained respectful to him and continued to pray for him and told him that I will pray for you, father. So the action, which is very, very important for us to understand here is as well, we have to be obedient to our parents all the time, except if they ask you to go against the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the Holy Quran and the Hadith of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sunnah ways of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then you don't have to do it. But while you don't have to do it, still you have to stay respectful. So in no situation you can be disrespectful to your parents. Yes, you don't have to listen to them if they guide you against Islam, but still you have to be respectful in front of them. Now, all of us can look through ourselves and see how we try to treat our parents. And of course, there's always a learning and we can always improve. We can always be better Muslims. So never be disrespectful to your parents. Tough situations from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are a test, especially those related to following the guidance or not. So again, this came from the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. It was a tough situation between him and his father, and however he remained steadfast, and after that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with children, Ishaq and Yaqub alayhi salam, who were also prophets, and this was a blessing that came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we should also pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us steadfast on the guidance and try our best, and then later on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make things easy for us, because sometimes it's not easy to follow the guidance. Sometimes the decision is tough. Sometimes it can have monetary implications, like it can involve money, it can involve interest, it can involve a strong desire that you have. It can be anything. So it is very difficult, but however, you have to come through it. You have to make sure that you come through that tough situation and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to continue to keep you steadfast on the guidance. It is very, very important. We cannot take it for granted that, we are Muslims, so, we are good. Whatever we do, we are good. We are born in Muslim family, Alhamdulillah, and we can do whatever we want. No, it's not it. It is very difficult, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep on trying and testing us, because getting into Jannah getting into heaven is not easy as well, and we will also be tested. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning specifically prostrating and weeping as a sign of guiding people. While usually we are told that, men should be tough and men should not cry, and we discussed multiple situations. Jazakumullahu khairan to all your contributions in that conversation. The action that we take for ourselves is we have to prostrate and cry in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you can bring in all your worries for this world. You can talk about your studies, you can talk about something, you can talk about a tough situation. You can talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if somebody is bullying you. You can talk if a teacher is being unreasonable, tough to you. You can talk about any problem that you have in life. Maybe if you need a job, if you need whatever, put it in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Put all your worries related to this world and everything that you need in the akhirah. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and cry in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Prostrate and pray in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to get all of this, because this is the sign of guided people, those people who are following the guidance, those people who have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their hearts. Last action, there were some very tough ayahs today on the people who don't follow guidance and who are following their lusts and the shahwat, and we discussed that in detail as well. So we should continue to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and seek his protection from hellfire. There's a small prayer and dua that we all prayed together in class today. We should try to learn this by heart and pray it regularly in the morning and in the evening. Allahumma ajirni minan nar. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, protect and save me from hellfire. Okay, this marks the end of today's lesson. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Purity belongs to Allah and all praise be to him. Purity belongs to you, O Allah, and all praise be to you. I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship besides you. I beg forgiveness from you and I repent before you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers. Inshallah, I will see you same time next week.